Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the movie Bullet Train. And I overall enjoyed this movie. I thought that it was a kind of good mash-up of kind of Quentin Tarantino kind of style of dialogue and absurdity and how they presented the gore and everything, plus the action scenes and the kind of world building of John Wick, which makes sense since this is directed by the person that did the first John Wick movie. And I really enjoyed it. I do have some problems that popped up with it, but overall I think it was a pretty fun movie detailing with just wacky absurdities of stuff going on with assassins on a bullet train. And granted, it wasn't really a crowded theater, but it was nice and comfortable, and it was the usual kind of ticketing price instead of the $10 that would be going on with the other Marvel movies, which is interesting. This was opening night yesterday, Thursday for it, and it was the usual kind of price for it, and I'm like. So just keep that in mind and be careful for that. Going to wherever your theaters are, granted, prices are going nutty doodah everywhere, but just so that way you know, it's kind of weird, but it is an important aspect of going to the movie, because it's do I know how much it's going to cost? But back to the movie. So the way this is done is almost kind of like an Ocean style thing, where you get things revealed as you're kind of going through. Though I think it's better to kind of work from the reveal and kind of explain how it's kind of going throughout the rest of it. So, because that's one of the things we're going through, and we're trying to figure out what's kind of going on here. So we get flashbacks and info dumps on certain characters, so that way we understand their kind of context of what's going on, which I appreciate. I always love when you dig deeper and understand what's kind of going on with a character. Though granted, certain characters get killed earlier than others and don't have as much development that's done for them, which sucks. But we do get development on the kind of more important characters. So we pretty much start off this movie and we see that there's this kid in this hospital, and we are introduced to this father character who's grieving that his son was pushed off of a roof and that he's in intensive care. His father comes back, who's called the Elder, and he's pretty much berating him for not noticing his son being gone, and that the job of a father is to protect his family. Now granted, we get stuff later on in the movie that kind of shows why he has that outlook, because at first you're thinking he's just being a cantankerous-old fuck and not really understanding what's kind of going on, and then of course you're thinking that this father figure dude is just a complete waste at this point, but there's other stuff going on with it. I do like that we have, okay, we're presented with this first, and then we get other information that helps kind of layer in. We're then introduced to who we will be calling Ladybug, which is Brad Pitt, and he does an amazing job in this movie, because he's talking to his handler, and this has been the kind of first gig that he's gotten back in a while. He's been trying to reframe his mindset because he has extremely bad luck, or just very fucked up fate. Fate is a very important kind of thing in this movie, of trying to figure out how certain things happen and what kind of goes on. Now granted, I'm not that much of a proponent of fate, but it makes sense within the framework of what's going on in this movie, and I think they handle it pretty well, because you're like, this is fucked up. What the fuck's going on? Because there are things that happen that physically shouldn't be happening. But again, since the rules are at least consistent within this world, even though I call bullshit kind of like the Fast and the Furious movies, that has gotten to an utter level of physics don't really work that way. And even if you tried to write it, the physics worked in your world that way, I'd still be like, bullshit. That kind of stuff does happen in this movie, but it at least goes with the absurdist kind of aspect of what this kind of world kind of works on, because we see he knocks into the father figure at one point, losing his key and his ticket, which introduces insanity, and just not complete insanity, but he has this ticket dude that's trying to fuck with him throughout the movie. It's I got a receipt for a ticket, and I'm like, yeah, a receipt for a ticket should be enough. You know what I mean? But he's able to get in, get his firecrackers, get his sleeping stuff and everything, which he has to watch out because his handler's like, listen, you pretty much killed somebody with that kind of shit. And he's like, I don't try and kill people, but like his luck has him put in situations that are complete and utter insanity, and that happens a lot in this Bullet Train movie. So he's going on. His objective is to steal this briefcase, and he's kind of going through. Pretty much gets it, and the first kind of goes like, that's easy, and then pretty much tries to get off the train. While this is going on, we see that these other two kind of professional hitmen, Tangerine and Lemon, are helping this one dude who we get then more information on is the White Death. He has tasked them with getting his son, who's played by the actor who did Percy Jackson. Don't worry, he's not there long enough for a lot of things to like happen. And get the ransom money that was sent because he was being ransomed by the Triads. They went and we had this whole thing as they had taken out all these Triad people and trying to count how many people they actually killed. They're like, no, we killed 16. It's like, nah, we also accidentally killed that civilian, so that's technically 17. And because a car blew up. And that actually flashback action sequence was actually pretty funny and well executed in my opinion, because even though they're talking to talking to us while it's happening, it's like they're telling us what happened and then commenting on the fact of what's kind of going down. And this is a pretty good action scene. Like, you're getting a lot of different kind of locations. There aren't a lot of jump cuts, and everything kind of goes pretty well. The action scenes in the Bullet Train, they do get a little bit more jump cutty. However, I understand why that needs to be done because of the confined and closed aspect of the Bullet Train, but they're still pretty good. They still work very well for what they're showcasing and to see how characters fight in these enclosed spaces. Again, I have to reiterate, a good action movie knows how to show character through action. Okay? Because it's not just about the good guy beating bad guy ass. How do they assess a situation? What moves do they take? And what actions do they do to achieve their objective? You see that throughout this movie. And I'm sorry, it's like, that is what a good action movie does. Of course, you see the trailer, because Brad Pitt and Tangerine and Lemon get into their kind of spiel because he's tasked with taking the case. And the important thing is, Ladybug was not the original person that was assigned to take this case. Normally, he just does snatches and grabs and doesn't kill people. However, this dude named Carver was sick, and so he's the replacement. That becomes important later on. So, he then gets into a fight with, like, Lemon in the quiet car, and just seeing them kind of try and stay quiet and deal with this, it's great because you're thinking, okay, it's definitely a kind of plot demands moment of like, okay, what if we had a quiet car, and how would assassins fight like that? However, it's not done in a shitty way. It's like, okay, we've got this thing, how do we do it? And we see them kind of detailing all this. He is trying not to kill this person or hurt this person, and it's funny because they're also, Tangerine and Lemon are talking about like how, to make sure that they've got body vests. Keep that in mind for later on, for like ballistics and all that. It's like, they're going to just shoot you in the neck. And also, Lemon has this giant preoccupation with Thomas the Tank Engine and being able to read people. He is actually pretty good at reading people. He's like, okay, this dude's pretty okay. And it's funny because there are a lot of different kind of cameos. We get a Channing Tatum cameo. We get the cameo that Ryan Reynolds is Carver. However, he doesn't actually factor in here, except for later on when we're getting details for certain kind of things. So he kind of beats down Lemon a little bit. He's able to get his phone. When he was getting off the train the first time, this wolf dude shows up, and he was evidently at the dude's wedding. And then we get the whole spiel of, like, his mother wanted him to be strong. He then gets in with this kind of drug dude, who pretty much becomes a hitman, falls in love with this woman. They have this wedding, and then everybody at the wedding suddenly starts dying. We also see that this snake, which is linked to how the deaths kind of work at this wedding, goes down, and he is going for the person that killed his wife and the rest of the wedding guests. But see, the thing is, Brad Pitt was also there, but so was the assassin. And Ladybug starts figuring out that the Hornet assassin person is on this train because Lemon and Tangerine left their the White Death's son alone for like a few minutes, and they come back and his eyes are bleeding and he's dead. And it's like, shit. And they keep having to detail of trying to show the White Death that like he's alive and they've got the case. at each kind of stop, but they keep getting more and more fucked over because of all this. And Brad Pitt is trying to detail this. He accidentally killed the wolf dude, and we also see that the father figure is on the train because he went to try and kill the person that pushed his son off the roof. This is where we're introduced to the Prince character, which is this young girl, and she's pretty much utilizing this dude to kill the White Death. Because he's pretty much a courier for him, and that if he doesn't do what she says, she's going to kill his son because she's got somebody watching over. So they're kind of fucking around. She pretty much puts a bomb in the gun, so if you try and fire it, it'll kill you instead. And they get the case because Ladybug hid it in this kind of receptacle, but as everything's kind of going down and he's figuring out and fucking around with the other people, they get it, and he's able to open it up. She puts a bomb thing in there to then have more chances to blow up the White Death, because since he's a courier, she's gonna make it look like he went to kill the White Death, and that the White Death usually utilizes the weapon that the person who tried to kill him to kill that person, and she's trying to use that to kill him. It's like, alright, that's kind of convoluted, but alright. See, the thing is keeping track of everything and all that. I don't mind kind of mysteries and everything like that. It's just, it kind of gets a little bit messy of what's kind of going on and keeping track. Also, the fact that Tangerine and Lemon have accents, and I don't mind the accents, but the thing is the audio mixing doesn't work very well here either. It's not on a level of like a musical where it's very, very, very soft, and then suddenly you go into the music, it's like, my asshole got blown to the next county over. Thank you, goodbye. But it's kind of harder to kind of figure out what's kind of going on and what people are kind of saying, especially when they're kind of whispering. It's not to the point where I completely lost giant chunks of the plot. However, I'm definitely going to have some repeat watchings of this with like closed captionings or whatnot, or subtitles, just to get certain kind of things that were being missed, because there's some really fucking funny lines here, especially with Ladybug's character, of even utilizing fuck nuts. I'm like, yes, I like fuck nuts as a curse. It just, because he sees them coming at him and he's kind of detailing everything, and then he accidentally lets the snake loose. He's like, oh, fuck nuts. So he's figured out that Hornet is the one that has pretty much been killing people. He's trying to get Tangerine and Lemon on his side to kind of get everything going, but then he gets accosted by Hornet, and he almost gets injected with the poison, but it doesn't inject the poison, but he then utilizes it on her and kills her, and then gets the anti-venom and injects himself. That's only important because then the snake bites him at a certain point to just further prove his bad luck. He's like, I've already got anti-venom, and puts the snake in a toilet. But you see her dying and everything. It's like, why the fuck are these people here? Because he utilized the pictures that Wolf had to find Hornet. However, she was in a giant kind of costume that you're like, what the fuck? Alright, so he kind of had a thing going on with Tangerine and Lemon. However, they kind of want to utilize him as the fall guy for what the fuck's going on. The old man kind of gets into it. The elder dude gets into it as well, because he gets on at one of kind of the last kind of stops. But at that point, we get a various amount of things going on. Lemon was in the process of trying to get everything kind of worked down, but he runs into Prince and the father, and she just kind of overplays her hand, and you could tell, even though she's pretty much a sociopath, psychopath, and the thing is, you can tell that she doesn't know what she's doing. She actually kind of gives a little bit too much information with the briefcase thing, and the thing is, he came up with this kind of thing. He's like, I don't want to shoot you both, but we'll see what's going on. If you're both pointing at each other, who's the one, like, kidnapping someone, I'll know you're both lying. And then he shoots the father dude. They kind of put him in a place, and the thing is, he's been drinking water that was pretty much laced with the sleep stuff that Ladybug had. And then he kind of falls asleep, and she just, like, shoots him point blank in the chest, with all of the bullets that she had. So the father dude is locked in a bathroom, pretty much dying. Ladybug's trying to figure out what's going on. Him and Tangerine kind of have their kind of fights. He tries to kick him out, and he's left on a train platform, but somehow is able to, like, grab onto it and punch his way through a bullet train's windshield thing at the back. That should have been able to be done. Like, these like, even if you candy glass that shit, like, those things are supposed to be built to, like, withstand some shit. Well, I'm not saying that, like, if you launched a fucking boulder at it, that it would stand up. Because if a bullet train's going, like, 200 kilometers per hour, and you launch even something at it, if it smacks into it, it's going to be fucked. But, however, he's not going at it. He's, like, on the back end from it. I'm like, no, okay. But he gets back on. He sees what happened to Lemon. He pretty much is trying to get after Prince, but Ladybug's complete shit luck. He gets in the way, and the dude accidentally shoots himself in the neck, and he dies. So Tangerine's dead. That's around the time that the Elder gets on, trying to figure out where his son is, and then we start getting more kind of information on what kind of is happening with this whole kind of spiel, because they're getting towards the last line, towards Kyoto. They've got the case, because she was pretty much tricking Ladybug to go to the end of the line as well by making it look like her bag was caught. But then he kind of gives the info dump that we had gotten in the beginning of the White Death. He was this dude from Russia that came in and pretty much beat all these motherfuckers and got into the good graces of the Japanese mafia and was being an advisor. And the thing is, the Elder dude was one of those people that cautioned against him. However, he then decides to take out the rest and severely injured the Elder. And the thing is, he had also went after the Elder's family, killing his wife and almost taking away his son. But his son hid, and he decided to then do his best to go after the White Death. We also learn, after we pretty much get to Kyoto and get the White Death on there, that she is the daughter of the White Death, and that this whole thing, besides her, because she didn't feel seen, she was doing this to pretty much prove herself and take out the White Death, because she thought that she deserved better than all the attention that was going to the fuck up brother. And the White Death's like, you don't factor into my plans, because we then get that not only was he the head now of pretty much the Japanese criminal underworld in this world, he's also played by the dude who did Zod, Michael Shannon, in Man of Steel. So it's interesting seeing him doing this role. He does a decent job. But after a while, we learned that he got all of these assassins to pretty much take them out and to take each other out. What had happened is Tangerine and Lemon, they had also previously met Ladybug. He had been shot twice by Lemon. They forgive each other later on because Lemon's not dead. But they had done a Bolivia job that was connected to the White Death's operation. He had to go to Bolivia to kind of deal with that kind of shit. While that was going on, his son got arrested and his wife went out to go and bail him out. Carver was the one who took her out, trying to take him out. And as she was trying to get surgery, the best cardiologist was killed just like before the surgery was going to be happening by Hornet. So he got everybody involved and was trying to take him out and get vengeance and all that. And it's like, holy shit, that's a very convoluted, kind of fucked up kind of way, but it kind of makes sense to kind of do that in this world, even though it's absurd and fucking crazy. So we see that Lemon is actually alive. He's pissed off at Ladybug for pretty much killing his brother. But they decide to work together and come up with their plan. And Ladybug pretty much gives the case. These two people are arguing over opening the case, but they open it up. Does a giant explosion, blows White Death and Ladybug onto the train. Lemon's starting off the train and blasts him out. His daughter kind of disappears for this kind of chunk of the movie until she pops back up later on. Well, we then start seeing all these different kind of fights. We get a good fight scene between the Elder and the White Death as they're like, yeah, I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get vengeance, motherfucker, as they go for it. And we do see him doing this interesting kind of like Russian roulette thing that we'd seen previously as he had taken out the head of the Japanese organization that he took over. And he's doing that pretty much to try and take out the Elder. We see that Ladybug and Lemon are trying to now figure out how to stop the train because everything's on fire and everything's going nutty. And the thing is, Lemon gets pretty much hurled into the water, and we'll see him later on. But Ladybug is able to utilize the emergency brake system, and it starts slowing down, but not before they kind of crash into a town. And it's a kind of crazy bullshit kind of crash. However, they are slowing down, so their momentum that they still have does carry them forward. It's just the way it's done is like, okay, that's nuts. But we'd seen that the son is still alive, having his own kind of action scenes as well. Well, son of the elder father of Wataru, the kid that was pushed off. And he's played by the actor that was the main actor for Warrior. So it's kind of cool to see him doing his kind of stuff. He's not really given much except for what we've kind of got here. So it's like, okay, like, they do a good job on the kind of characters that they've got. But Ladybug was fucked over, and the dude's like, I'm going to kill you. And he's got, of course, the bombed gun. And he's like, listen, you almost get a Clerk's like, I'm not even supposed to be here today kind of shit going on. But he's like, listen, I'm not the one that did it. I'm not Carver. But he's like, fuck it, whatever. Tries to shoot him. But, of course, it backfires and all that, and they've got their revenge and everything. We see her pop up with a Tommy gun in this one place, like, yes, I'm the White Death now. And then she gets run over by a truck that is carrying tangerines. And I'm like, yeah, okay, that's it. It's on the nose, but it thematically works here because of how fate and luck and everything is represented. They even talk about with the Elder and Ladybug, how Ladybugs have a certain kind of folklore carrying the seven sorrows on their back to make sure that others can live in peace. And I'm looking throughout this movie, and I'm like, nobody here is living in peace. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people dying. I did like that the White Death did buy the rest of the train tickets at a certain point and had everybody get off. And so that way they can just do their own kind of shit so nobody else could get hurt. So I'm like, yeah, he's a bastard, but I mean, at least they did that. I'm against that kind of thing. Now, granted, I don't hold that against this movie. It works within this world, and this is what the framework and what we're being told and what are important aspects here. And it's communicated effectively, especially throughout the actions and everything that has gone on in Ladybug's life. So, she's dead. They're like, alright, cool. We're good, man. And then they just kind of walk off. They're kind of fucked up, but they're okay, because the father dude is gut shot. Oh, and Prince was like, yeah, my dude's gonna, like, kill your son now, pretty much. Because she had to, like, check in periodically, but the elder dude's like, you don't think I wouldn't protect my own son? And then you see this brutal kill of this giant motherfucker by the nurse, and she's like, yep. She fucking bags his head and then slits his throat. It's like, he knows how to employ people. I mean, he was part of, like, Japanese underground at that, like, before that, so he knows how to fuck around, man. But they go off, it's like, alright, cool, hopefully your kid's alright. And then Ladybug's handler pops up, and it's Sandra Bullock, and it's kind of cool because she was, they were together in Lost City, and it's kind of cool to see him, like, working out here. It's just really, like, okay, since all of these contracts were done by the White Death, and wouldn't you think that Lemon and Tangerine would know that, or try and figure out that that was connected? So why would they take a contract that is done by the White Death like that? I don't know. That's an aspect that I'm like, okay, could have been, like, figured out a little bit better. But she's like, yeah, I just thought you'd need help and everything. He's trying to reframe his mind to be more positive. She's like, I got a banana in the car. They're going to the car. He's like, wow, that's a nice car. And then something crashes down on it and breaks. It's like, all right, cool. No, it's all right. At least we weren't in the car. And then they're kind of just walking off. He's like, yeah, I kind of got to go to the bathroom. And kind of ends there. Even though there was a weird spot that it looked like a police car crashes into a bit that's crashed. And then we get a little bit of a scene later on within the credits. Not very far, not deep into the credits, just showcasing Lemon in the water, which, going at the speed he was, he probably should have died. But then he gets a gun, takes out this one person. He is the one that got the tangerine truck and ran that bitch's ass over. So it was cool to kind of get a little bit of that and to kind of have that explained and have that done. Like, I didn't need explanation, but I appreciated it. You know what I mean? It doesn't take away from any of the aspects. It doesn't take any away from the story or whatnot. It's more of a value add that worked on to be like, yeah, okay, the character got his vengeance. He got it in a tangerine truck. And it just kind of works to the fate of, like, she did bloody, horrible things to people, and bloody, horrible things happened to her. You know what I mean? Like, they at least were consistent and all that kind of stuff. Even though, like, Ladybug did not put forth negative vibes and deadly vibes to these people. He did not want to kill people. But he also got into situations that he had to like protect people, like him and Lemon were trying to stop the train, and he utilizes the knife that the wolf had to take out this one person to make sure that Lemon didn't get killed. So it's like, okay, it's really interesting, fucked up, weird, absurd kind of movie that just works pretty well. Like, I would definitely recommend this to people. Like, I had fun going to it, and I had fun watching it in the theater. Yeah, so if you're into action movies and into Tarantino / John Wick kind of stuff, I would definitely recommend this. And if you don't want to spend it or go out to a movie theater, that's understandable. If it comes to a streaming service or whatnot, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Yeah, I don't know what streaming service it would kind of go on. Like, it would probably, since it's a Sony movie, it would definitely pop up on like Stars. So if you've got a Star subscription or whatnot, you're able to kind of watch through that way when it eventually comes out. But I had fun with this movie, and if you're into action and the violence and everything that goes on with it, I would definitely recommend it. If you're not into that, definitely don't. Like, this is not for kids. There's blood, swearing, and completely and utterly fucked up things going on. So if your kids can handle that and they're into that, that's a different kind of matter. But if you're like, the sight of blood makes you go, ugh, don't. There's like some at least good CGI with what goes on with certain kind of like explosions and like fucking White Death losing like half of his face at the explosive bit and everything. They do a good job on the work. There is one part that's pretty much completely CGI as the train is crashing and Brad Pitt's character is kind of flowing through the rest of the train. That isn't the kind of worst thing, but you definitely tell that it's CGI and everything. And you're like, okay, you could have just cut and not. You could have saved the money and just like cut and then just see the kind of crash. Though granted, I understand people wanting to see the crash. It's not the worst thing ever. It's not the worst CGI I've seen, but it's like, okay, you could definitely tell it's CGI. So yeah, those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.